Hello, hello, hello. TinaO here from TinaO Life, and this is Stories from the Car. Those of you who know my work, you know that I am a core story specialist, and I work with people to connect them to their core, to the message that is inside of them, that the world is here and ready to hear. The world is here to hear from you. That's where I was going and thought, oh, you better fix that. You can't put two here's back to back. But apparently I just did. What you may or may not know about me is I was also on the path of ministry. I was on a ministry path that led me to the United Church. And that path is still very much in front of me, although I'm at this time unclear how that path wants to unfold for me. And I want to talk a little bit about that feeling of being unclear. And the interesting thing about that, because I'm sure you get it. I am so sure that you have felt unclear before, you have been confused before, you've been disoriented before, you have had, yeses in your heart that just didn't go the way you thought they were going to go. And then as you look back, now you're like half step out of that thing that didn't go the way you thought it would go. And now energetically, or maybe for you, it's not about energy, like all your head thoughts, all the thoughts in your head are jumbled, or maybe you're more of a body person and all of the feelings in your body, like your tummy's all jumbled. I want to talk about that state of jumbledness, of confusion, of unclear. Because in my story of pursuing a path of ministry, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, it really was a pursuit of a ministry path. Now, I want to make sure you know that I didn't start out pursuing it. What happened is a call hit me. It's like it landed. It landed on me, in me, through me, and it was so clear. There was no confusion about it. The only jumbledness that was there was my, are you kidding me? Me? What? I had that. But that was a reaction to the clarity of the yes inside of me. In fact, the clarity of the yes brought a clarity of reaction of a no. So just hear that again. The clarity of my yes triggered a reaction of a clarity of a no that I don't even think I've ever really felt before. There's no's like, no, I don't like that way that tastes. No, I don't like that music. No, that person is actually kind of mean. I don't want to be around them. No, that ideology doesn't jive with me. It makes me kind of go, meh, no thank you. Like, there's no thank you. There's no, not for me. And then there's hell no. Like, what are you talking about? And so what happened for me was a couple of people in a couple of instances, a couple people noticed in me a connection to people, and I'm going to say a connection to God in the only way that they could see it, because everyone has their own personal relationship with God, and everyone has their own personal knowing of their connection with God. And by knowing, I mean in their body, in their spirit, whatever. Like, everyone has a knowing of, yeah, that's connected, or that's online, or that's aligned, or that's in the vortex, or whatever your language is, and the opposite of that. And so I had a couple of people over a course of about 3 to 6 months call out in me an alignment that they saw, or an in the vortex that they saw. And of course, it would be like a double yes, right? Because that's how that works. The person looks at me and goes, wow, there's a yes inside of that person. There's alignment inside of that person, one yes. And then the person seeing it feels that double yes, the yes inside of them. It's like, yes, yes. I don't know if you ever heard Lisa Nichols talk. Lisa Nichols, she does a lot of stuff. I think she still does Awesomeness Fest. I don't remember. So Lisa Nichols does a whole bunch of stuff on speaking, and she's part of The Secret, that whole piece. And when you ever see her on stage, she always says, if something resonates for you, if something grabs you, I want you to say, yes, yes. First yes is for you, second yes is for God. I love that. So a couple of people had a yes, right, with me around some connection with God. And they named it. They called it out at me. They said, hey, did you ever think about this? And the first time it came up, I was like, no, what? No, hell no. And it was the clarity of my no. I don't say no to very many things. I'm a eternal yes person. I'm a, yeah, let me check that out. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, really? Yeah, cool. Wow. Like I have curious yeses all the time. I have, exuberant yeses all the time. And I have, tender, compassionate, yeah, totally yeses all the time. I even have maybe yeses. Maybe, yeah, which is really yeah, I think so. But I don't get no's very often. Like, not those kind of emphatic no's. And it was that emphatic no inside of me that made me go, what's this about? Why would I say no so clearly, loudly, boldly? And I started to track it even more. It's like, that's not actually a clear, grounded no. It's a hell no. It's a reaction no. So I started to look at, why would I have that? And in that time, another person saw it in me and said, hey, have you ever thought there might be a ministry inside of you? Ever considered, discernment? And I remember at that time going, discernment? What does that mean? I had no idea. So for the record, when you're in discernment, when you're discerning, I think we know what the word discerning is. When we're discerning, we're like checking it out. Is this for me? Is this not for me? But discernment has a whole other flavor or color to it when you're looking at calling. Discerning is, whoa, am I shaking hands with God right now? Is that what's going on? Am I called? And I looked at this person and I said, I would be lying to you if I didn't think you were onto something. I just don't know what you're talking about. So that's a yes. Now I started to follow this. Okay. I started to follow this. And I'm kind of bringing you here because I want you to know that my path of ministry is still sitting in front of me. I am not discerning. It's super clear. The yes is clear. The how and the what have not arrived yet. But it's actually not confusing. I am not confused. A couple things this year didn't play out the way I thought they were going to play out around this pursuit of ministry. And once I laid the pursuit down, because I said yes, yeah, I'm going to follow this. And then I had all these hoops I had to jump through that were the right hoops. I make no judgment when I use the word hoops. Like, these are, you got to tick a couple of boxes off if you're going to be a minister. There is some integrity in the gig. Like, let's be real about it. And that's actually what my major no was about. It was the reverence in which I hold that space, that God space. That's what my no was about. So let's go back to confusion. But I wanted to articulate that first. Hope you're getting that. I wanted to articulate the difference between a hard, beautiful, clear yes, a hard and challenging but clear no, discernment between those two states, and then another state of being called confusion, which has this sort of foggy feel to it. It has this mucky, muddy, swimming in brown water instead of clear blue water. It has this sort of gauzy feeling, like you're looking through gauze. Or it might have a feeling for you like not knowing which end is up, not knowing where you are. That's that disorientation piece. And I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday about a couple of decisions I have to make. There's some career decisions ahead of me that I wanted some advice from this circle of women that are my wisdom circle. Like, tell me your thoughts on this. Tell me your hit on this. And I, blathered on, blah, 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 like nonstop, kind of like I'm doing now, for about as long as I'm doing it now, like the whole drive home, which is about 12 minutes. And at the end of it, I said, so what do you think? And my friend Jillian looked at me and she said, you sound confused. And because of that, it's a no for me. And she said, might be no for right now, but not no forever. But you are not confused. You are never confused. You are a core story lady. You speak from the core. That's what you do. You are clear. She said, I had the thought, if Tina's confused, that is a sign that no, do not proceed any further at this time. And it struck me so simply and beautifully. And that's the thing about what I call universal truths. Universal truths are so simple. They're so simple. I looked at her and I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I never knew that. I can't believe I never thought that before. I can't believe that thought wasn't even in my head. I can't believe I don't have that as a rule of engagement in the way I live my life. Because it was like, right. She's so right. There are, like I talked about, there are hard no's. There's, soft no's. There's, hard yeses, soft yeses, but they're clear. But confusion is not the same as discernment. Confusion is disorientation. And in disorientation, you don't move. You don't proceed forward because you don't know what the forward is. When you were a kid, did you ever get lost? You know that advice, right, that we give to our kids? If you get lost, stay put. If you get lost, stay put. I will come and find you. And we say that because you're disoriented. And if you're going to move from a place of disorientation, you're just widening the scope of the disorientation. The best thing to do is to hang tight and wait until the next real yes arrives. We got into a conversation last night about faith and about God. And what was so beautiful is there were six of us, and we all had a different story about God. God for me is the great mystery. God for me is story itself. It is narrative on the pulse. It's a narrative on the pulse of God. My relationship with God is based on my understanding of and my communication with God. Now, I don't always have to have words with God, like actual narrative with God, but the way that I share God with other people and the work that I do, the God work that I do, is all built on narrative. So for me, God is like this pulse. For somebody else, God is universe. For somebody else in our group, God is awe itself, or stardust. For somebody else, God is Jesus. It is she's a follower of Jesus. And for somebody else who hadn't self-identified her understanding of God yet, there was actually no name for it, just a knowing inside. And in this conversation of yes, no, discernment, and disorientation, one of the pieces I want to leave you with is there we were last night, all having different ideas of God, and yet within each of us, we were following the yes of the God, or of God, within us. And that is the only thing ever to do. Following disorientation will eventually drain spirit out. Following disorientation, again, lost equals lost. Following a little inkling, a little pulse, a little motivation, a little glimpse of a yes takes you into discernment. And following this yes, ooh, I feel a no here. What does that tell me about my yes? What does that tell me about my understanding with God? As a listener, as a story listener, my practice really is following the yeses and following the no's. There's nothing to follow in confusion. What I can do in confusion is trust the information in the space that confusion sits in and just wait. Wait until there's a readiness for the knowing to arrive, for the clarity, for the yes, for the image, for the word, for the next footstep to follow, to arrive. I think the world is in a place that it's always been. It's just very, very pronounced right now. And what I mean by that is we are as eclectic as ever. We are as opposing as ever. We are as positioned in our position as ever. We just seem to have a bit more of entitlement around sharing that, not sharing, that's the wrong word, of demanding our position be respected and honored. And almost, I guess here's the thing. I'm tripping now on the word demand because I'm realizing you can't actually demand honor. I mean, you can totally demand honor, but if you're demanding honor, you probably don't deserve the honor. There's not a lot of grace in demanding. And without grace, there's not a lot of God either. Following a yes is following the grace of God. Whatever God means to you, whatever your understanding of that word is. And I don't mean understanding cognitively, I mean understanding as the yes for you. So confusion, what I want to leave you with, is confusion is a clear sign of it's not all here yet. So don't act, meaning don't move forward. Sit, wait. Whatever's coming that will move you forward or that you are meant to do or can do will arrive, but not if you're busy running through confusion. So I invite you for the next little bit to play around with this idea. I don't have to be right about it. This is just my story about it. But it might be lighting other things up inside of you that are creating other yeses that you need to tell me about. Tell me about your yeses. Okay, coming back. I invite you to play with the states of yes, the states of no, which are kind of yeses, right? Because they're clear. They're, no, I'm not doing that, which means, yes, I'm doing that instead. So play with your yeses, play with your no's, play with discernment, which is the dance between yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, hard yes, little yes, soft yes, hard no, hell no, oh, yes, maybe, right? Discerning, yes, 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 no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes. And notice where confusion sits. see if you can let confusion be there without attaching any meaning to it, without it making it mean that you don't know enough, without making it mean you're not smart enough, without making it mean whatever. Like, just let it go and notice the state of confusion. Start to notice how many times in a day confusion is where you're at. If you have a lot of confusion in your day, it probably means that parts of your life are out of alignment right now. If you have a lot of discernment in your day, it probably means you are very much on the path of moving into greater alignment right now. And if you have a lot of just hell yeses, hell no's in your day, it means you are likely in alignment. And now what? What calling is there for you to live out? How connected to your idea of God might you let yourself be? Because I'll tell you, God doesn't plant confusion in our minds. That's like this whole human thing that we do. Prayer is a beautiful thing. And lots of us don't even know that we're praying when we pray. Praying is the act of listening in the space of discernment, in moments where we are confused, and so we ask for guidance. I'm TinaO from TinaO Life. I am home now. This is Stories from the Car. I will talk to you again. Meep, meep. Let's see if I can do it.